Okay, joining me right now is Macomb County's Clerk Anthony Forlini. He gets to oversee all of the elections happening in Macomb County. Lucky you.
Lucky me.
Well, you ran for the seat. You wanted the job.
That's right. That's right.
First of all, what does it take for you and all the different municipalities to get ready for an election like this? There's a lot of testing equipment and things like that, right?
Oh, there's a ton of testing for the equipment, but getting ready, making sure everything is in the highest regard, because as you know, in 2020, there was a lot of conversation about the elections not going very well.
Right.
We don't ever want that happening in Macomb, and we've been very fortunate since I've been in office. Everything's gone pretty smooth.
Yeah. So on a day like today, kind of walk me through what the timeline is. Like, I'm sure the staff gets there early, they start turning the machines on, and then do they work like 12, 15, 16 hours until all the numbers are tabulated?
Yes. So I actually have one person from my staff going over to Sterling Heights. I want my staff at the county level to understand what it's like at the local community level that has to run these elections. So we understand what they're going through. So when we get our results back, we know, what they had to go through for the day. So 6 a.m., they're there ready to go. And the polls don't open until 7, but they have to be ready, sharp, for a full day's worth of work.
Full day's work. What is the process in terms of where the numbers go? Is it the cities and townships, and do they turn things into you, and then
Yes.
you verify them?
Yes. So all day long, they have the tabulators, they get the scores, they get everything. At the end of the day, at 8 o'clock, assuming that's when there's nobody else in line and they're closing, they then run the tapes, the paper tapes off the tabulators. They get the modem sticks that are inside, not the modem sticks, I'm sorry, that's a hot topic.
Yeah, I know.
No,
Yeah, we shut those off.
the tabulator sticks, and we secure them, and they bring them to us. We load them up into...
So somebody is physically taking like a USB drive
Yes.
from and then driving it to your office?
Yes. Yes, we require that because I was one of the first clerks in the state to actually shut off the modems. So the results are getting a little bit slower in, but there's no transmission over the internet.
So that was my next question for you. Were there concerns about integrity when you're transmitting data like that instead of having a hard copy, so to speak?
There was, and to be honest, we did a forensic audit in Macomb County. I think still we're the only one that did that, and we found that the transmissions were clean. Nobody interfered in between. But still, there was that possibility, and so we wanted to eliminate that possibility in Macomb. And we're looking at new ways that we can do it a little bit more secure, so we can get those transmissions to the public for the media to be able to report.
Yeah. So, what's your best guess on when we'll start seeing results? Is it 8:30, 9, 9:30?
Yeah, these are fairly small elections. Early voting, we had less than 1%.
Oh, really?
Participate in the early voting in the 2 communities that did it. And so we expect to get those results in, I'm going to say maybe around 9 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, we'll hold you to it. Yeah. I did want to ask you a little bit about voter turnout, right? Obviously, Detroit is in Wayne County, but all over Metro Detroit, we're having this issue where less and less people are going to cast their ballot.
Nick, it is
What's up with that?
No, it's so sad to think that maybe 15% of the population is determining who's going to represent them in their communities or what they're going to pay in their taxes, if the police millage is going to pass or fail.
Right.
15% of the population.
That's a lot of people lost.
There's very few people representing a whole. So those that are putting those proposals on need to understand who those people are that are voting and target them. And that's
going back to election integrity, your office actually was just recognized for making some key changes and getting some awards for integrity. Can you lay out what you did?
Well, we have done, and I don't sleep at night just thinking about how elections could potentially get cheated. And so we've gone right down the path to having the ballots themselves are watermarked. If you're in Macomb County, you put that up to light, you'll see that your ballot is watermarked. We shut off the modems early on. We do hash validations on the tabulator, so we know if anybody interfered in that programming from the time that we programmed it to the time that the election happened. We look at all these things. We want to make sure that everything is clean. And like I tell you, we don't sleep at night thinking about it.
Right. What I found interesting is that during some of the presidential races, there was a lot of accusations of election fraud on both sides. But there were some strong calls from Republicans, and your Republican that was in the office. Was that contentious, or how did you kind of have the conversation that, no, we're doing things right here?
Well, I came in, I won the 2020 election, so I had beaten an incumbent that was in there.
Yep.
And so I didn't run that election. So I'm looking at it from a clear set of eyes with no, nothing to hold back
Sure.
if I had to. But we went through it. We did the forensic audit. There were things I couldn't prove. So I never went out and says, no, nothing happened. I says, let me check into it.
Right.
And we did check into it, and we looked into it, and saw there was potentially some holes that we closed up and fixed. But even so, nothing happened during the 2020 election that would have affected the election. From our standpoint, from the internally within the clerk's office, and the programming and everything was clean.
I don't sit in your world, so I don't know, but I would imagine that obviously there's going to be a bad apple everywhere. But a bad apple, one bad apple spoils the bunch. But I would imagine that the majority, if not every single one of your folks, have the utmost integrity and are great people. It must be frustrating when there are accusations, when your people are working extremely hard, not losing sleep over thinking about how to make this right and doing it right.
Right, all of them. They all work very hard across the state. Every clerk across the state of Michigan works very hard at making sure the elections are fair and accurate. But I always say, I believe you. We have to be able to prove it, though. So that's the reason for that forensic audit. We were able to prove it. We were able to prove what we did was right, what they did was right at the time. And that's important to me. I never send somebody out to count money by themselves. They have to have somebody else with them so that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not that we count money, but just generally speaking, you need to be able to prove so that if anyone does accuse you of anything, you can prove backwards that things were done right.
Would you like to see it kind of standard operating procedure that there are audits and forensic audits of every election just so you can kind of roll out the papers and say, this is what we found?
Yeah, and I think it's incumbent that the tabulator companies and those things, as we look at this and changing equipment into the future, that we're able to do these types of things a little bit easier than we're doing it now, because it's a lot of work, because they weren't anticipating this kind of activity need to happen. The hash validations is somewhat cumbersome for us to do. We're doing it. I'm hoping new software, new updates on the tabulators will allow us to do it much quicker, easier, and make the process seamless.
Gotcha. Okay, so polls would open for an hour and 40 minutes now. What are you hearing? Are they busy? How's it going so far?
No, listen, get out and vote, because you don't have to wait. Don't think you're going to go there and wait in line. Say, well, I don't have time for it. You do have time for it. Go there. This is not like a presidential election. You're going to go there. You're going to vote. Chances are you're going to be in and out in 5-10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. And you're supposed to bring a driver's license, but if you don't, you can send an affidavit, right?
Yes. Bring your driver's license. Everyone's got an ID. Bring it.
Right. Right. Okay. Anthony, thanks so much, man. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.